Two for one, having a sale!
Mutant to the rescue!
Venus de Milo, the initial female turtle follower of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, has finally joined the half-shell heroes after over 25 years, but not in the way the fans would anticipate. Even though the persona is frequently mocked, her reappearance promises a very different rendition for the turtles. Initially, 5 newborn turtles were infected by the vial of carcinogenic ooze that dropped into the New York sewers, according to the tale as it was presented in the live-action 1997 television series Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. Venus, one of the turtles, was divided from the rest of the 4 and found herself in Chinatown. A martial artist called Chung discovered her there and taught her how to be a ninja. Years later, while confronting a creature known as the Dragon Lord, she encounters her 4 brothers. Venus was overlooked in the following installments of the franchise because the TV show was cancelled after the first season. Let us dive right into it and explore more about Venus in our video today. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Old, you know? And I felt something.
Venus, the 5th turtle origin. She was the 5th turtle to be affected by the neurotoxin that had transformed the rest of the turtles, but she washed away in the gutters of Chinatown in New York City. Chung-Yi, a Chinese shinobi instructor, discovered her there. Chung-Yi raised her for 18 years and took her all the way back to his birthplace of Shanghai, China, where he taught her the shinobi method. The fearsome Dragon Lord and his followers were imprisoned inside a magical mirror that belonged to Chung-Yi. When the dragons invaded the dream world, they attacked Chung-Yi, the designated keeper of this mirror. Chung-Yi was severely wounded in his sleep and Splinter's soul was taken captive. Chung-Yi disclosed Mei Pai-Chi's actual background in New York to her as he lay dying. Mei Pai-Chi visited New York, where she got to know the other turtles. After removing the Shredder identity from Oroku Saki's head with her shinobi powers, she proceeded to the dream world to recover Splinter's spirit. By doing this, she unintentionally provided the dragons with the route to the real world. Venus was all by herself in Central Park when the Dragon Lord, along with his henchmen, launched their initial assault. A woman's statue's head was severed during the battle. 20 minutes later, Raphael arrived to assist her. The figure's head was brought to the turtles' den, and the male turtles used it as the basis for their moniker for her. One of the 5 turtles in the sewers was Venus, who was exposed to mutagen. Splinter accidentally left Venus behind when he collected all the turtles. She managed to find her way back to Chinatown, where she was found by Chung-Yi, a shinobi magician. He taught the turtle the shinobi way as well. The turtle was brought to China by Chung-Yi, who reared her as his own daughter and gave her the name Mei Pai-Chi. It seems that Chung-Yi occasionally visited the world of dreams and met Splinter there. Each person shared tales about their turtles, but decided to keep them private until the right moment. Chung-Yi also possessed a glass mirror that contained imprisoned humanoid dragons. Chung-Yi wanted to make sure that the dragons wouldn't ever be able to leave the mirror. Eventually, the dragons entered the world of dreams, where they attacked Chung-Yi and abducted Splinter's spirit. Chung-Yi told the female turtle on his deathbed where she came from and that New York was where she belonged. The female turtle made her way to New York, where she came across the 4 ninja turtles guarding the master's corpse while his soul was imprisoned in the world of dreams. She first assisted the turtles in defeating the Foot Clan and the Shredder, and then she guided them on a dream walk to free the soul of their master. Unknown to Venus, the dragons took advantage of this opening to go into the real world. Splinter and the 5 turtles went for a luncheon in the park to commemorate their seeming win, but were assaulted by dragons. A sculpture of a lady gets damaged during the conflict and has her arm severed. The female turtle brings the statue to her cave after the turtles triumph in the conflict. Venus's moniker is derived from this monument. Venus seems to have had a quiet existence in China. Venus was shown in the sitcom as blissfully unaware of several aspects of Western culture and existence, as well as occasionally similarly clueless about life as a whole. Venus was a great fighter, but unlike her turtle buddies, she was not educated in ninjutsu. Instead, she would employ magical spheres to various effects during combat. Although the four turtles were reared as brothers, it was made clear earlier on in the show that none of them, not even Venus, were biologically related. The creators did this in order to leave up the potential of Venus having a love relationship with one of the four turtles, with clues primarily pointing to Raphael or Leonardo, the steadfast, level-headed leader. Venus's escapades with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles persisted for several years after the show's termination. The Turtles began writing in their journals about their experiences in an overarching storyline with characters from the cartoons Archie's Comics as well as the Mirage continuity in 1996. Four extremely happy Ninja Turtles each shared their thoughts on the new team member in Venus Venerations, which was posted on the website in October 1997. A second season of similar sorts developed on the letters area of the official website. Venus only produced a little over a dozen letters, yet up until the year 2000, she coexisted with Mirage, Archie, Animation, and Next Mutation characters. After Venus Venerations was cancelled in 2001, the current plot thread was carried out without any justification or reference to her earlier life. While the lads were still around, Venus had numerous adventures with them, including the day they vanquished Bone Steel and imprisoned him. Then two other expeditions happened to China, the first to retrieve the last of Venus's possessions and the second to address the Dragon Lord's threat. The Dragon Lord's reign of terror was eventually put to a stop by the Turtles in March 1999, but due to Venus's reverse psychology on the Shredder, he posed a more significant threat than ever. Now that Shredder had reconnected with his true self, he tried in vain to seduce Raphael into joining the dark side and grew even more resolute to exact his vengeance. However, Krang volunteered to assist the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in permanently imprisoning Shredder because he held them responsible for all of their past mistakes. Even though they did not trust Krang, the Turtles agreed and plotted secretly to kill them by capturing them. They made the decision to aid their allies, the mighty Mutanimals, in taking down Merc Marina after all the big villains had been conquered forever for the time being. Leo and Don particularly detested Venus's plan to get caught and take on the pirates from within. It sparked a lot of conflict and brought back how crucial Venus was to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and their species. However, they were ultimately compelled to execute the strategy and nobody was wounded, including the pirates. The Rat King had violated their truce during her previous expedition with them. Apart from that, his minions had pretty well destroyed or devoured everything in their cave. The Rat King still had demolished the Turtles' lair after an arduous struggle, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were struggling to cope with their losses when all of a sudden there were just 4 turtles left. Her disappearance had never had a canonical justification. Letters written by Venus were taken down from the internet after Peter Laird acquired Kevin Eastman's share of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The remaining Turtles' messages from those dates still exist and continue to refer to her. Director Kevin Munro expounded on the guidelines Peter Laird provided him for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a 2007 interview. Munro said that one of those guidelines was the female turtle Venus de Milo receives 0 references. Venus's future appearances are yet unknown, although they seem quite unlikely. Even making light of that with Peter is off limits. He simply has certain things that Munro just despises with a passion. On the other hand, Raphael painted a female turtle-human hybrid called Venus on the edge of the Turtles' newfound party wagon in an installment of the 2012 show, while Donatello looked on with approval. It was created in the style of pin-up ladies from the 1950s. Now let's talk about what really happens in the first episode, East Meets West Part 1 of the Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, and how the character of Venus evolves from there. Chang's home in China is where the show opens. Because he has not eaten, talked, or hauled in weeks, his pupil is concerned. Mi Pai Chi is notified by Changi that he is observing the glass right in front of him and that he is going to sip some tea now. His student departs and then an apparition emerges in the mirror. Raphael gets a caution from Leonardo in New York for setting the entire gang at risk. He rides his cycle to let off anger when a pack of foot ninjas attacks him. Ralph takes them all the way to a junkyard where a brawl breaks out. When Splinter witnesses that Raphael is in difficulty while they have been playing chess right in Central Park, he quits the game and runs to help. Donatello utilizes his Sputnik system at the shelter to learn that Raphael is in the ordeal. The turtles push off in their Humvee. Just when Raphael is about to be conquered by the Foot Ninjas, Splinter reaches and defeats them. Raphael receives a lesson from Splinter about riding a clamorous bike, and the turtles in their entirety about acting erratically. Shredder is sad to learn that Splinter, along with the turtles, has once again overpowered his foot soldiers from another part of New York. He demands them to employ every technique at their disposal to beat the turtles. Splinter is meditating at his shelter, permitting his soul to glide into dreamland. After that, Splinter is reported by Chun-Li about the world of dreams not being secure any longer, as well as dragons approaching. Splinter speaks to Ralph concerning his rage after shifting his awareness back to the outer world. Things are rocketing back in China. Now Chun-Li considers it time to familiarize his trainee with the glass. He tells them that the Earth was monopolized by dragons many years ago. The dragons were incarcerated in the mirror by Chun-Li's ancestors. The dragons want to reclaim the planet after uncovering a passage into the world of dreams via Chun-Li's mind. Michelangelo chooses to propel his go-kart via the sewers in the meanwhile. When the Foot Ninjas see him, they chase him to their hideout. When the Foot Ninjas' attack starts, Michelangelo blasts through the barricade. Splinter is also there after he finally returns to the world of dreams. Splinter has been retained as a prisoner by a unique demon that has taken over the world. When Chun-Li attempts to rescue Splinter, the apparition in the mirror strikes him. After defeating the Foot Ninjas, the turtles uncover that Splinter is not functioning right. To rescue Splinter, Chun-Li in China recommends his student to journey to New York. She raises her hood and reveals herself as Mei Pai Chi, another mutated turtle, as she vows to follow orders. The second episode, East Meets West Part 2, starts off right where the last episode ended. Splinter's incapability to awaken leads to anxiety among the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The power goes out just when they are prepared to see a doctor. They are found wilting by their feet when the electricity comes back on. A robed person reaches out to Splinter and tells him that the dragons have detained him in the realm of dreams. Mei Pai Chi is exposed when the figure lifts the hood. She let the boys down prior to telling them that she had been located in a Chinatown sewage ditch. Chun-Li found her there and fetched her to China as Chun-Li believed she was fortunate. He trained her in the internal arts when it became evident that she had mutant skills. Chun-Li had been watching over in a looking glass which trapped the dragons, yet they had found their pathway to the world of dreams. They had apprehended Splinter as a convict. Shredder fulminates at several of his hoodlums in the Foot's command for failing him yet again. He demands them to construct the Foot Clan and they will collectively eliminate the turtles that night. Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael talk about Mei Pai Chi back in the gutters. On the other hand, Leonardo is conversing with May. Leonardo explains that neither of them is related by blood. May stops by the dream world as they get back to the sewer. Splinter is being swayed to join them by the Dragon Lord. On the other hand, May is located but she escapes. May decides to take a walk at nighttime in a park since she wants a breather from the chaps. Several Foot Ninjas attacked her while she was strolling. After gabbing about her, the boys in the gutters choose to send Ralph to monitor May. By the time he reaches, she already has taken great care of them. She uncovers that the Foot Ninjas plan to hit their sewers again that night by being able to read one of the ninjas' thoughts. On his course back to the gutters, Michelangelo discovers a sculpture that acts as his motivation to offering May her new title, Venus de Milo. They get to know about the attack from Venus. She asserts that they ought to train in dream walking, but cannot do so while the Foot Ninja is around. She suggests the elimination of the Foot. The turtles shatter into the Foot Clan's administrative center. They are all the Foot. The turtles join the stage as Shredder welcomes the Foot. There are way too many turtles to battle the Foot productively. Venus can bring Oroku Saki all the way to the top and pin down the Shredder by employing her axe. According to Leonardo, the Foot Clan has been decimated. In part 3 of East Meets West, we get to see that the turtles are quite frustrated as Venus offers to teach them how to dream walk. She brings them to the roofs and allows them to spar after realizing that it is simpler to let their souls be liberated if they are engaged in combat. Then Venus transports their souls into the dream realm where they discover Splinter. They also encounter Wick. the Dragon Lord's companion, the Dragon Men's commander. In order to leave the world of dreams, he chases them even though he lets them flee with Splinter. In an abandoned structure, the Dragon Lord, along with his army, the Rank, establish their base of operations before setting out to hunt the turtles. They come across them enjoying a picnic in the park. Dragon Lord is concerned about what he could become if he consumes the mutant turtles. The turtles battle the powerful Rank. However, Splinter is once more taken prisoner by none other than the Dragon Lord himself. Due to their setback in the battle, the turtles' confidence is damaged, and they begin to doubt their ability ever to overcome the Rank. The turtles make their way back into the gutters when Venus releases him with her chi power. In Part 4 of the East Meets West installment, the Dragon Lord dispatches Wick and a couple of rank dragons right into the city to acquire the rare elements essential to produce the old-fashioned Serum of Invincibility in order to attain an upper hand over the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Rank's newly unstoppable soldiers will certainly beat the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles after they devour them. Donatello pursues a pack of dragons all the way into Chinatown, utilizing his turtle field look in the satellite of the sky. The turtles do not really confront in combat with their opponents, since Splinter believes they need to be on the defense instead of the offense. The Master does this in an endeavor to determine susceptibility in the strong opponents. On the other hand, Raphael does not agree and chooses to travel to Chinatown alone to hit Dragon and Wick in the buttocks, but rather discovers himself needing support from his friends. The Dragon Lord's objective of transforming all of his henchmen into super soldiers fell well short of his capacity to gather sufficient elements to fabricate the serum for much more than just 6 fighters. The rare elements the Dragon Lord requires come from the pulverized bones of several of the planet's most intimidated animals, so he sends another unit of the Rank to the Bronx Zoo. Fortunately, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are always there to block the dragons. One among the Ranks takes 1 dosage of the Invincibility Serum during the combat and exhibits nearly unstoppable potency until he flees in trepidation. The Dragon Lord pledges to carry on his search for the elements to furnish all of his troops unassailable, even though the Turtles triumph in the combat at the Bronx Zoo. In the 5th installment of East Meets West, we can see the Dragon Lord intends to construct a trap for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by stationing his 5 most lethal Rank right at the Bronx Zoo for an invasion after learning that the Turtles mysteriously know his soldiers' every single move. The vicious reptile utilizes the last 5 dosages of the Invincibility Serum to boost the dreadful power of his warriors. Nevertheless, the Turtles are understandably infuriated when they try a serum specimen from the last fight with the Rank and discover that it is produced of granulated tiger bone, turtle shell, and rhino horn. The next dispute at the Bronx Zoo is an authentic death fight that is prolonged and fierce because both sides are geared up. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle learn as the fight goes on that the Invincibility Serum is really a placebo, with no genuine ability to grant invincibility apart from giving the user the illusion of invincibility and helping him conquer his apprehensions. With this knowledge, the Turtles furnished a devastating loss to the Dragon Lord as well as his accomplices. Furthermore, the long brewing controversies between Leonardo and Raphael come to a stop as the Turtles realize that although their differences make them special, they also tend to make them similar, much like parts of the same jigsaw. Furthermore, as they are turtles, they also are a component of a long evolutionary line that dates back to the dinosaurs' time. Above all, turtles are survivors, and survival is a great teacher itself.
Turtle! Turtleification!
Audience and critical reception of Venus. One of the main debates in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles history is whether Venus even exists. Most series fans did not like her, and many believe that she was an awkward deus ex machina. Many disliked her because Next Mutation was one of the few Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles worlds that made it clear that the Turtles were not connected by blood, whereas the rest would bypass the problem altogether or particularly mention that they were linked, such as the 2007 film. This made Venus available as a potential love interest for Leonardo and Raphael, as well as the other turtles. Another factor is the incorrect presentation of shinobi arts as being distinct from ninjutsu and viewed as a form of magic. In actuality, shinobi is really a synonym for ninja. Furthermore, the Chinese man Chang'e was depicted as a skilled shinobi. Although it is not implausible for a Chinese guy to have studied the techniques, ninja and shinobi originated in Japan. Hence, it was exceedingly unusual to see a Chinese ninja in the media. Ninja Turtles, the Next Mutation TV series, which many people felt was poorly written and had ridiculous comedy, would be the most significant cause of contention from the female turtle. Venus has not appeared in any other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles media since Next Mutation was cancelled, not even as a joke. Peter Laird, the franchise's co-creator, has been vociferous in his opposition to Venus ever reappearing in the further Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films. Following the conclusion of the series, her biography was temporarily taken down from the official website. However, it was eventually added again on page 2 of the classic characters profile page. For the 2K3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe characters, page 1 was turned around. Peter Laird gave a detailed set of guidelines for how to approach the characters to Kevin Munro, the director and writer of the 2007 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Munro set some straightforward guidelines and stated them in an interview as well. Horrifying new-formed Venus in IDW comic. The Venus project was abandoned by Barlow, who currently utilizes her for testing. Bonnie, a Punk Frog member, was seized by Dr. Barlow as well as partially rebuilt as a fake mutant turtle on the orders of an unidentified customer. She had escaped on a few occasions, leading Clyde to believe a weird shelled turtle had stolen Bonnie. In issue number 127 by Pablo Tunica and Sophie Campbell, we come across an injured Donatello who visits Dr. Barlow to get his carapace treated as he had received a gunshot wound. Barlow informed Donatello that he could operate on his carapace when he unexpectedly showed up at his clinic, alluding to the work he had already begun and was relevant. Don went back to his facility to inquire about it when he met Venus, who was devoid of all limbs. Dr. Jasper Barlow, the enigmatic doctor, claims that the purpose of his repugnant experiments on mutants is to aid in their recovery of some of the humanity they once possessed before their transformations. Venus is shown in this instance as a zombie or cyborg, which is a distinct departure from the blue masked turtle that the fans are more familiar with. The cover image implies that Venus will use technology to control her arms, despite the fact that they are severed from her entire body in the manner of the statue that serves as her namesake. In issue number 128, we can see on the island of Burnau, Shrell looks in vain for Seri and Marielle. After spending the entire 18 years in the gestation pod, Seri finally escapes the facility confused, as Marielle instructs her to leave the island and seek assistance from some friends. When Seri misplaces the navigation disc Marielle had given her, Shrell eventually comes up to them and sees them. Back in the mutant town, Alopex and DB are still at odds, and Ziggy adds a new aspect to the situation. Donatello does not pick up when Al calls him on her mobile phone. With the hooks on his neck and head, Ziggy starts to generate electricity, which he then uses to zap Al and render her unconscious. In another part of Dr. Barlow's facility, Dawn is astounded by Venus, a turtle that appears to be mutant and has no limbs. She was discovered bleeding and withering in an alleyway, and Barlow had been rebuilding her with the use of the scale of the dragon to help her heal her grafts. Additionally, according to Barlow, she has delirium and has attempted to flee at least once. However, his staff brought her back. Don argues that he cannot keep her there if she does not wish to be there. Suddenly, he discovered a forearm dangling from the ceiling. Don understands that the woman is actually Bonnie, the lost punk frog that Don had been convicted of kidnapping, when Barlow confirms that it is one of her natural limbs. Due to her injured vocal cords, Bonnie or Venus is unable to speak, yet she can communicate with Dawn telepathically. Due to her wounds and operations, her memories are altered, but she still provides Dawn with glimpses into her past to prove her identity. Dawn begs Barlow to release her, but when he does, he induces him with midazolam and carfentanil, which makes him pass out. Alongside Al and Sheena, Dawn awakens tied to a Barlow's operating table. He commands them to get up, but right afterward, he picks up a psychic message from Venus. She informs him that she has been transformed into a turtle as a result of a doppelganger commission program, but Barlow had kept her around since he considered her a letdown and had been using her for experiments. When Al eventually wakes up, she tells him about seeing a group of marked turtle mutants before being assaulted. When Barlow enters, Dawn claims that he is acting unethically since he is a scientist and a doctor. Barlow argues that Mutant Town has no morals and is unconcerned. Another dragon scale is delivered by DB and Ziggy, who connect Dawn up to it. As the energy passes through him, Dawn experiences excruciating pain. Dawn is advised by Venus to go through the pain rather than resist it and to keep his composure. The dragon's might unlocks a door that has always been open. Dawn and Venus appear in the astral plane without warning. As Dawn returns to his first human kid incarnation, he tells Venus a little about his past. Later, while out and about, he runs across Hamato Yoshi. Yoshi cradles his crying infant in his arms. Dawn struggles to determine whether this is all genuine or a delusion in his turtle form, and whether the astral plane only presents him with the information he wants to see. Venus advises keeping in mind that the dragon's strength is only a key and that everything is genuine. When Ceri's skull gets hit by a laser beam by one of Shrel's ensembles back on Burnau, Shrel catches his sister in his arms. Ceri transforms it into a fleeing vehicle, but Shrel warns Marielle that she will be crushed if she departs. Despite his tight hold on her, Marielle commands her to flee, claiming that he would not murder her. The guidance disc closes in on Manhattan as Ceri takes off, swearing to exact revenge on her mother. Back in the event of the mutagen bomb explosion, a group of Fort Lauderdale punk rock lovers attempt to attend the 999 Music Hall, but discover that it is closed for a number of hours. Genghis and Mary join the conversation as the group mulls over what they might be able to do while they wait to get back to 999, expressing their contempt for their home. They are all instantly transformed into frog people as the payload of the mutagen bomb hits them. Ralph discovers Casey dozing off in a church's basement and inquires whether he has seen Alopex or Donatello. Ralph inquires about Casey's well-being after observing how disoriented he appears and bringing up the several empty cans of beer he has seen at his residence a few days prior, when Casey replies that he has not. Casey assaults him because he thinks he is being condescended to. Venus's limbs are starting to be reattached in Dr. Barlow's lab in the meanwhile. He explains how he uncovered fragments of a deceased mutant turtle's carapace in a black market back in Mutant Town, as well as a dying corpse, and wonders whether that ties to Donatello's shattered carapace after observing how rapidly her shell is recovering from the dragon scale placed on it. After finishing with her, he moves on to visit Dawn. Dawn attempts to persuade Barlow to let them collaborate in order to comprehend the characteristics of the dragon scale, considering the encounter he had when he enters the chamber where he, Sheena, and Al are being held when Barlow comes. Barlow responds that he will think about it and shows Dawn the new shell he has been designing. Al shakes Dawn away from it, and he seeks out Venus through telepathy to aid him in contacting his brothers. Dawn indeed appears to be intrigued in the shell. Dawn's astral form is led towards the city by Venus's astral form after leaving the lab. Leo, Mikey, and Jenny assemble some of their pupils outside the church and proceed into the territory of the punk frog. When Leo inquires as to where everybody is, Jenny replies that Ralph remains in the church, but she has not seen Alopex or Donnie in a while. She then enters to collect Ralph. Suddenly, Leo senses that Donatello is in difficulty. In the basement of the church, Jenny observes Casey and Ralph fighting and finds the sight humorous. Ralph's face is knocked to the ground when Casey pulls on his bandana as instructed by her. She admonishes them to get moving, even though they evidently still have issues to resolve. The two men sit silently for a while before laughing, still visibly upset with each other, but realizing that, as Casey explains, their behavior is a result of stress, particularly in light of what has happened to their dads. They hug it out and reconcile for the moment. Dawn is surprised when he and Venus run across Oroku Saki right on a rooftop. Dawn claims that he was pulled to Saki because of his powerful astral presence, and Saki senses that he needs help. Dawn hesitantly consents to get aid from the old adversary of his family. When Saki enters the lab, Dawn wonders about his judgment as he starts releasing Alopex. Dawn argues that he didn't set out to locate Saki, but they used the opportunity to escape, with Alopex giving Barlow a kick that was powerful enough to render him senseless and loosen several teeth. Ralph meets up with Carmen, Casey, Hector, Wanda, and Monty, Ralph's mutant moose deputy. Leo claims that he believes Don tried to contact him astrally, as well as the turtles speculate that the frogs may be responsible for Bonnie, Sheena, Don, and Al all being missing. Jenny recognizes the 999 Music Hall and rightly infers that the punk frogs are hiding there after determining that they were likely participants in the real punk movement. Ralph is asked to join them by Leo radioing him. Ralph inquires about the whereabouts of Alopex and Donatello as the two factions storm the music hall and engage in combat. Ralph replies that they are all being arrested at the request of Mayor Pride after Genghis admits he has no idea. Leo cries out for Carmen as Genghis slices her across her tummy during the ongoing conflict between the punk frogs and the Splinter Clan. The four mutants escape from the lab after Dawn releases Venus from her bindings. But Chuck and DB are waiting for them there. Venus blasts Chuck via telepathy, knocking him out while they duel the two. They ultimately manage to push beyond DB and leave the clinic when this provides them with a wide enough space. They keep fleeing when all of a sudden, Venus feels something approaching. Just before Seri crashes into the clinic, they dodge out of the path.
Dudes need to bulk up on your martial arts!
Appearances of Venus in other media. Venus made appearance in 2 of the episodes of Saban's Power Rangers in Space, Save Our Ship, and the 1998 episode Shell Shocked, just like other turtles. After receiving several emails asking if Venus would appear in the comic book or not, Gary Carlson at last included a woman turtle as a one-page joke in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 3 issue. It was revealed that the monster aboard Vanguard's ship was an extraterrestrial that could transform into anything it wanted and, strangely enough, had kissed Michelangelo. Venus has appeared in several coloring and activity books, an adaptation of the overarching storyline Unchain My Heart, and unique tales like Double Dragon and Shells of Steel in addition to the television series. Only a few guidelines on what not to do were given to writer Gary Carlson for the Image comic series, one of which being no female turtles. However, in issue number 12 of Volume 3, Venus was mocked when an extraterrestrial named Lurch changed into a woman turtle that resembled Venus quite a bit. Some editions even used the tagline, "No female turtle guaranteed," in their advertising. On March 30th, 2022, issue number 127 of the IDW Comics chronology introduced a brand new Venus. This manifestation is a Frankenstein-like entity made from Bonnie, a female punk frog, by the crazy mutated surgeon Dr. Jasper Barlow. Venus had a brief appearance in When Are They Now comedy in the 50th installment of Robot Chicken Girl Toys, which lasts for 3 minutes and 50 seconds, Moshe Poppins 2007, where she reveals that after being fired from the squad, she attempted to flush herself right down the toilet and perished. Raphael painted a female turtle-human hybrid on the edge of the turtle's newfound party vehicle in an episode of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated TV series from 2012. Donatello looked on with approval. Venus is the name of the picture. Later in the episode, Michelangelo falls victim to a trap that would cause him to get a second mutation. He imagined transforming into a female turtle that is reclining and leaning back sensuously, much like Venus is in her advertising photo. A blonde human girl wearing green and red headband bearing the name Venus on a huge bomb is depicted on the pinnacle of the battle tank feature tent in a style reminiscent of vintage World War II pinups that were displayed on various military service vehicles. The female mutant ninja turtle of all time. The 5th mutant turtle introduced in the series, Venus de Milo, is the most intriguing addition to the turtles' mythos, originally named Mei Pai Chi. Venus, a woman, is depicted as a master of the mystical arts of the shinobi. She is dressed in a cyan mask with a braided ponytail in the rear. Sometimes her fighting technique is more akin to kung fu than ninjutsu. Venus is a divisive figure who alienated a lot of fans. Lalinia Lindbergh provided the voice of Venus, whom Nicole Parker represented. Many fans thought that Fox manufactured Venus at the time and pushed Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman to utilize her. Others assert that Kevin Eastman made up the persona because he liked her. In any case, Venus's profile was taken down from the official website by Peter Laird because he dislikes her. However, it has now been put back up. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
I am Shinobi. I am Mutant. I am Turtle.